we're talking about territories, which is, you know, a number that most artists think is used in big business, but no, like this is something that all artists need to start looking at. And all these online platforms, our websites, the analytics from the back end of our websites, you know, MailChimp, all these things collect data. YouTube does it as well, that tell you in what different territories people are looking at your stuff, they're clicking on your stuff. Jake, tell us a little bit about how the numbers relate to the different territories that our music is being consumed in and viewed in.
I think, personally, there's a couple of really great tools that bring all this data together. So the first one is, and there's a number of them, but my favourites are Next Big Sound, and the other one that I use a lot is Sprout Social. So that pulls your data from all your different social networks, Google Analytics, etc., and it presents it in a way that is much easier to understand. The beauty of Next Big Sound data is, and there's a couple of other similar platforms, you can import your iTunes data and some of the other digital retailers as well. So you can actually start to see how it sits side by side, how it cross-pollinates, how it works together, but also individually. And what's really interesting, Jamie's right, it's for every artist, it's so different. For what we might look at for a heritage rock act versus, an alternative kind of hip hop artist or whatever it might be, are very different. So it's right. You need to figure out what platforms and what retailers are really going to work for you. And just quickly going back to streaming for a second, I think the business model of streaming, and we don't want to get caught up in a streaming debate, but the business model is, one, it needs to kind of reach some sort of critical mass before it really starts to pay decent dividends, but no different to iTunes and no different to the world that we live in. It's the top 1%, the cream that's risen to the top. That's where the money is. So if you're outside of that, you need to be everywhere and figure out what is going to work for you. And the second point to that is, because of the internet and because of streaming and because of the world that we're now in, it's a global economy. So thinking in terms of territory can be a little bit restrictive in the beginning. You might find that your music starts to resonate in France or in a certain part of Paris, or you might find that it's connecting in with particular demographics, and that's what your data can tell you, so that you can start to spend more time and invest there, because that's where it's connecting. And I think that's where the real value is for data early on.